All right, Mary Beth. The owl seems to be uncooperative, but we've got you here. So
Okay.
I know that was.
Okay, so let's start this. Welcome everybody. Thank you for coming. Let's do a quick round of introductions around the table. Rick Hopkins, East Montpelier, Supervisor.
Heather Murphy, Ag Specialist. I work in the Williston office. Sarah Winslow, Ag Specialist, also in the Williston office.
Nancy Marshfield.
Okay, sorry. Lucas Goldfuss, Conservation Specialist out of the Berlin office. Rich Turner, Supervisor from Williamstown.
Supervisor from Waitsfield.
Pat Richardson, Finance.
Jill Arachi in Waitsfield.
Dan Kahneman, District Manager.
Jill.
Yeah,
Hi.
from up there.
I got 2 years.
I love to talk. I know.
And I can introduce myself as well. I'm online virtual here, joining you virtually. This is Mary Beth Witten. I'm the district manager for the Central Zone for NRCS.
Great. Good to see you, Mary Beth.
It is good to be back.
Well, good.
Really?
Yeah. We thought of you during all that. So
Thank you.
hopefully January will not be here too quickly.
Right?
Great. So everybody knows Jill. Jill's here as a guest. Jill's from Waitsfield, formerly the executive director of the Vermont Association Conservation District. So Jill, I think it's great to see you. You're just here to see what's going on
Yeah,
Yeah.
pop it in.
now that
Learning-
she's retired.
Now I get to do the fun stuff. I felt like I didn't get to do the fun stuff sometimes when I was working at VSC because I was too busy. Now I get to go to meetings and annual meetings, and I'm going to Farm to Plate tomorrow. It's gonna be fun.
Well, great to have you here. Yeah, so this is our November meeting. We meet again in January.
If
Every
we're
other month.
doing every other month, it will be
Yeah.
in January. Yep.
So thank you for being here. So that covers attendance. So let's jump right into the meeting minutes approval from September 17th.
It should be the second thing in your packet.
If there's no changes, I read it.
Oh, the third thing. That's right. I gave you a copy of the annual report because we had a bunch left over. So
I'll make the motion to accept.
I'll second that.
Motion by Paul, seconded by Rich to approve the September 17th meeting minutes as written. Any further discussion? Thank you all that had a hand in preparing those. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Very good. So next up would be financial updates. Pat.
You have in front of you the profit and loss, the budget versus actual for FY 26. Q1 and the first month of Q2. So it is through October. We had total receipts of 124,347 through the period. Income on the grant side, the larger items were NRCC core services. We have built out LCP for the first time for Storm Smart in 3 years. So that's a little over 40,000 that's included in there. Again, we're on the accrual basis, so as the invoices come out, they get booked. It's not based on payment. Those are the two big items. Going down through to personnel and payroll. We're pretty much on an even keel there. Any questions there, let me know. That does now include an intern. And her hours are minimal, though. I'm not too concerned about that. As far as programming and fundraising, we now have the online store, which is very reasonable. I think it's $5 a month, which is great.
Yep.
It's good for you guys.
Yeah.
The PayPal fees, minimal right now because that basically is the tree sale expense. Dan has ordered some trees. We've had to make some down payments on those. Direct project expense, contractual. I think most of that is engineering.
Likely,
I didn't.
likely engineering.
Yeah. I didn't print out
A couple of consultants
Yeah.
and engineers. Yeah.
Yeah. We go down to operational admin, accounting, bank fees. East Rise did get in their last lick with us and bill us $6 for low balance. But we are out of there officially. Dues. We have paid our VLCT dues. We are all caught up as far as I know with the ACD. I haven't seen, excuse me, I'm so sorry. I forgot to turn that off. I don't think we've seen the VACD dues yet.
Yeah, that was covered at the
Yeah.
annual meeting.
Thanks,
So,
Rob.
yeah.
Dates we talked about, but I think
Yeah.
they'll be getting a bill.
Coming,
fairly
yeah.
Getting a
soon.
bill, yeah. We budgeted for it.
Right,
We
right.
haven't seen a bill yet. Insurance, I have good news about workers' comp. As a result of our last audit, as you know, we pay a very high rate. We're billed over $4 per $100 of compensation. We were able to get Dan reduced to general and administrative. That is 52 cents per 100. So that's a big savings right
Yeah,
there.
well,
So,
nice work.
yeah.
Figuring that out.
and I know there's some ongoing efforts on workman's comp.
With the state, yeah.
State. Our property and casualties, that remains about the same. Internet, that's a monthly fee. Mileage reimbursement, supplies, training, website. Those are all pretty much standard. So we are showing a total net for the period of about $2,000. But again, October is early in the quarter. I've already seen invoicing coming out for November over 40,000. So on the saving project, but again, that's LCDP.
It's the state, but they also take a long time. So
Yeah, LCPP is the storm smart. They say we'll get paid in 45 days. I'll believe it when I see it. Any questions on the P&L?
What, do I see a minus down here at the bottom?
I know you don't like that, Paul. I'm sorry, but it's early.
I'll hold you to that one.
Okay. Going on to the balance sheet. We now have all of our cash in one bank. Our CD paid off $450 in interest for the 5 months that we had it. So we determined last meeting that we would just roll it over. The interest rate is a little bit lower, but still pretty favorable. 150,000 in the money market. Checking account, 9,200. It's very easy to move money between the money market and the checking account. It's just a push of a button. So we try to keep the checking account as needed. Accounts receivable. I go back to my income page here. Some of that is outstanding on the income side. But again, that's mainly the 40,000. Prepaid expenses, that is the website that we are accruing on a monthly basis. Liabilities, Dan's credit card, we have some outstanding payroll liabilities. We do pay our bills within 30 days. So generally don't carry a heavy accounts payable. So that's it in a nutshell. Any questions? I left my glasses in the car, so I can't see any of you.
We can see the numbers, that's okay.
I can read, but I can't see you guys.
Pat, you did mention on the profit and loss, the VACD dues. I just was checking my notes from the VACD meeting that happened on November 6th.
Okay,
FY25 fees, VACD dues, the due date would be January 31, 26.
but I think we paid that
I
one.
think
Okay.
we might have.
So there were
Yeah.
5 or 6 districts that were represented as already still to pay. So
Yeah.
most of the
I know a
districts have.
couple of them.
Okay,
Familiar with one of them especially.
but the FY26 VACD dues will be due March 30,
Okay,
26.
good to know.
Same amount, $3,000.
Thank you, Rick.
I don't, my notes don't say when that billing will go out, but say
Okay.
January, February.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Pat.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
thank you.
Thank you.
So I think as our customary way to do it, we do take a motion to approve the financial updates presented by Pat.
Motion and we approve it.
Motion by Paul, seconded by Rich. Any further discussion on the financial updates?
I'd like to see a plus instead of a minus.
Okay, so noted. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Thank you. Pat, here are the checks that I've just signed,
Thank you.
and then I'll hand off to you a couple of checks and some cash
Okay.
from our annual meeting that we held last week.
Thank you.
Okay, Mary Beth, NRCS update.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to update is that the next item on the agenda is the civil rights training, and that is not happening today because we did not get our updated material yet. So you guys are off the hook for that. But so I do have a few updates. We're back and functioning. We have been given our priorities. Our first priority is to get all of our clients paid for anything that has been installed while either last part of September or while we were on furlough. So it's all hands on deck to get payments out the door because obviously we're really behind. So we're making payments right now on cover crops, the Conservation Stewardship Program, and any construction projects that were completed while we were on furlough. We did have the great fortune to have a, we call him a hybrid. That's kind of not fair to him. We have an engineer that works for both NRCS and the Agency of Ag and paid through the Agency of Ag. So Jason carried the load for us on any construction projects almost statewide so that they could continue while we were on furlough. They couldn't get paid, but at least they didn't come to a screeching halt because the Agency of Ag's, like I said, hybrid, we pay half of his salary, they pay whatever. Jason Bradley did a lot of engineering work while we were gone. Our second priority is to get the staff back paid. So our M&S team has been working nonstop to see if they can make that happen. They worked through the whole weekend, this past weekend. HR's target is to have the two big complete pay periods. I know that doesn't make any sense to you folks, but there is a total of 4 that were affected, 2 that were completely affected. To get those 2 completely affected paid to us by tomorrow. We'll see if that happens. But that is huge. That's a very quick turnaround. And then to have our regular scheduled, which the first 2 days back would have gone on, that pay period paid to us by Monday. So those are pretty lofty goals, but we'll see if that comes to fruition in my direct deposit tomorrow. But that's the goal. The first 2 priorities were, first of all, our clients and getting them paid, and then second, to get employees paid. The programs team, and this affects you folks more. The programs team is working hard to get a whole new timeline published on the stages of an application all the way to obligation. So we expect to have that new timeline published by December 1st. So the DCs received the proposed yesterday, and we made some counter proposals to those dates and sent that back up, and they're being considered as we speak. So it might even be published before December 1st. But so what I'm talking about is the ranking deadline, the pre-approval deadline, the obligation deadline. So that affects our clients that have applied, and it affects your clients that have applied to your local work group pool of funds. So stay tuned on that. And as soon as I get it, I will get it out to Dan and Heather and Cara, so that you got folks remain in the know. Some of one of the biggest news is that RCPP 3273, more readily known as DEC Marley Roops RCPP, has been canceled. They lost the funding for that program. So that's huge. That's just our zone had over 25 forestry applications in that, going for that pool of money. That's just my 3 counties. That's just my zone. I have an RCPP planner who does the agronomic end of things. So Red Start does, is subcontracted through Marley to do all the forestry. And we are now working or discussing strategies on if we have the capability to absorb that workload or not. And if not, what happens to those applications. So right now, it's a mess, but we're trying to figure out what this means. And I say we, that's at a state office level with input from the DCs, but that's huge. Only because I know you'll ask, we have no new news on the reorganization plan, except for the fact that we're supposed to be getting news on the reorganization plan. Well, they've been saying that for a while, and there's a lot of other things that need to come up and start functioning because of the furlough, that's sort of tabled right now. So when I hear something, there again, I know I sound like a broken record, but I will let Dan and his staff know. The last item I wanted to just bring to everybody's attention is that Travis is now acting state conservationist for New Hampshire on a detail. So he is pulling double duty. He's pulling state conservation duty for still in Vermont and is now acting for New Hampshire. He does not feel that this will have a negative impact on NRCS Vermont because both states have a really solid leadership team that hasn't turned over. So should be able to do both successfully. And that's my update, unless folks have questions. Per normal, I like to stay on because I like to hear about all the projects. But then after that, I will probably drop off because I have to get back to payments. So,
Yeah, Jill has a question.
Hi, Mary Beth.
hi, Jill.
Glad to have you back.
Thanks.
I'm just wondering on our CPP, you mentioned forestry projects that are already developed. Are there farm projects developed as well?
So these are the applications, and yes, there are farm and so grazing and farm agronomic. So, you know, like cover crop and those kind of practices, but the whole pool of money, the program has been canceled.
Yeah. Would you be able to move the farm ones to equip, for example?
We're discussing all of that.
You're figuring that out.
Yep.
And Mary Beth, do you have any sense as to why that program was canceled?
Yeah. I don't know all the nitty gritty. Okay. I'm not a grant. You know, that's all happens in the background, but it had something to do with still being attached to the IRA money.
Oh,
That whole agreement is IRA.
okay.
And they had applied for it to be severed, you know, and hold up on its own based on water quality, not climate, you know, all of that. I mean, Marley jumped through the hoops, but
God,
and thought it was going to get approved based on water quality, and it did not. So, but like I said, I don't know all the details, you know, that's way above my head, but that's what we've been told.
Okay.
And I gather there's sort of an appeal in the works from the state of Vermont.
There is an appeal. If that
Let's see if she comes back.
appeal.
You're back. We're good.
Okay. So that I don't know if you heard that, but if the appeal is won, it's too late. It'll be too late for 2026.
Yeah, I understand Marley who came to our annual meeting mentioned that it was discouraging this was because the money was frozen, so they weren't able to, allocate funds. And then apparently the ostensible reason for canceling was because the money wasn't allocated, but they had been prevented from doing anything or something like that.
Right. The projects were all developed. They
Yeah.
were doing TA.
So super, like really. Somebody in
Stupid.
DC did not want this money, and probably because it was IRA. So, very frustrating. A lot of work, I'm sure, has gone into it.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
But that was the only RCPP program in Vermont that suffered such a fate?
No, that we lost one last year with because it was tied strictly to RCP to IRA funds, and then didn't have the backing to say, oh, but it is also water quality. It also addresses these other resource concerns and meets other program criteria. So, and I'm sorry, I forget the number of that one, but no, there's been others that have been lost. It's
That
just
was-
this one.
That was
We-
the climate smart one, Mary Beth.
Yeah, and I forget the number, but
Yeah.
so to answer your question, no, but this one, there was this process to say, hey, we could, should be able to still run this, and so far, no.
Okay.
I can share that VACD has a large agreement that is a mixture of IRA and non-IRA. And the NRCS Washington people have been extremely helpful in trying to help us spend down the IRA so that it's off the books, so that we can retain the rest of the funding.
Mm-hmm.
We were afraid we were going to lose the whole thing.
Mary Beth, anything else?
No, except that you're not out from under the civil rights training. It's just being postponed. Sorry. As soon as I get the new documents, we are still going to have to meet that, that requirement, and I'll do that training then.
Okay,
Okay.
so we'll get credit for civil rights training in 2026,
Yeah.
or do we have to
Yeah.
do it twice?
No, you don't have to do it twice.
Okay.
Thank God.
There will be a recording played at 6 p.m. tomorrow.
Oh, you're funny. Okay.
All right, well,
Thanks.
that's good news. That's good news. We'll look forward to the material and seeing you next year.
Yes. Same here. Thanks,
Okay.
guys.
Thank you, Mary Beth.
Anybody have any further questions for Mary Beth?
Wish her a Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
And a Happy New Year.
happy holidays.
Yeah. Thank you. You too.
All right, well, I'll jump in quickly to the Natural Resource Conservation Council update. We had a finance committee meeting this morning, which is my only excuse for being late. And then we had a council meeting on November 13th. And I'll just quickly look over my notes. A little bit of talk about the shutdown at that point. The drought, we talked about the drought. There is a statewide drought task force that still remains, trying to get information into some sort of federal database about the drought and the severity of it. The Ag CWIP request for proposals has been issued by the Agency of Agriculture. So we learned this morning that years past, council has applied as sort of the umbrella organization from which all the Ag CWIP money then flows. This year, the idea is to have VACD be the umbrella organization from which all the money under Ag CWIP for the next 2-year grant period would flow out of them. So a little bit different umbrella structure, but again, my understanding of it all is, all districts would be encouraged to apply, develop a proposal, submit those to VACD. VACD would submit kind of the overall proposal for the conservation districts, including whatever council feels like they can get as far as eligible work. But that differs from how it was done years ago, where council was the overall grant recipient and then distributed money out. So Claire and Michelle will be talking to all the district managers about that different configuration. And then also I've been chair of council, so I'm stepping down as chair since on January 1st, I will no longer be the Central Supervisory Union representative to council. So there's a person from the White River District that will assume the Central Supervisory Union rep to council role. We can talk about it today, but if any of you Winooski supervisors care to be the alternate to the Central Supervisory Union representative, in those situations where the rep can't vote, has a conflict, is away, is sick, the alternate then has a seat at the table to cast a ballot. So I'm willing to become the alternate, but I just wanted to see if there was any interest. Nancy, Rich, Paul, if you have an interest in becoming the alternate.
Do we have to nominate you or anything?
Yeah, I mean, we could do that or just appoint.
I nominate.
I'll
Sorry,
second.
to be the alternate. That's what you're getting at, right? So, we're not gonna fight you for this. We are very grateful.
No getting away from it, Rick.
All right, well, thank you. No, I'm willing to do that. It's a little unclear right now who the person from White River District is going to be as the supervisory union rep to council. But once all that gets figured out over there, then the idea, they will serve in that supervisory union rep position for 2 years. And then someone from Winooski will then take the supervisory union rep seat, and they would be alternate. So again, just as a way to try to get some term limits. If 2 years comes and no one from the Winooski district wants to take that role on, then White River can do it for another 2 years. So we're trying not to make it overly complex, but again, just allowing for some term limits, and if there is interest, just getting some fresh eyes and ears as a participant. So thank you. I will continue to be the alternate, or I will take on the alternate role. But importantly, Natural Resource Conservation Council met and they voted Willie Nickerson as the new chair of council starting on January 1. Willie is up in the Northeast Kingdom. So it was great that somebody from the conservation districts stepped up to be the chair of council, even though ANR, Agency of Agriculture, or UVM Extension could have taken that on if they so chose. But I think it's important that the conservation districts have a chairmanship role for council. So anyway, so good for Willie.
Well, Rick, thank you for all your years of service. I saw Claire at the dinner. She's like, I'm really going to miss Rick. So it's been really important what you contributed.
Well, thank you. No, it's been, council. I was the ANR representative to council, and I saw council almost be eliminated completely. Our state position was eliminated. Money to council was almost zero. And so we've fought and clawed our way back over the years. And when Jill was at VACD, there was this great collaboration between council and VACD. And so I think council, if you look at council now, it's really quite remarkable where they've come from. And also, the idea is to go even further in trying to secure money from the legislature that would then benefit all the districts. Essentially getting one full-time equivalent at each district. And then also having per diems for supervisors, per diems for council representatives. So again, just trying to hammer home the idea about recruitment and retention. So of supervisors as well as staff. So, but it's been a pleasure to serve, and look forward to trying to give you ongoing updates.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you for your
Really
effort.
appreciate it.
Okay. If there's nothing else, then we will jump into program, Winooski District program updates.
I think I'm on there first, yeah?
You are. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, cool. Okay. Well, gonna give an Envirothon update today. I'm glad Jill's here because she's got the insight and general knowledge of Envirothon much farther back than I do. So feel free to jump in and provide your expertise. I left in sort of like the overall project definition on there. The current issue this year is non-point source pollution. It begins at home, which is great because I think that's directly applicable to lots of, areas throughout Vermont. So it'll be good to see what students bring to the table. We have 5 teams signed up as of today. North Country Career Center in, I think it's Derby. They're bringing 3 teams. They're pretty closely tied with the Orleans County Conservation District. So it's good to have them bring 3 teams, which is great for numbers. Northeast Kingdom Science Collaborative is actually going to be a team of homeschool kids,
Cool.
which is cool. So we got a little diverse group going. And then Woodstock Union High School, who came last year, who was super psyched to come this year. And we're pushing for more teams. So I know like Thetford Academy was super excited last year, but pulled out last minute. So I'm trying to get in with them, as well as I think it's the Riverbend Tech Center, it's called, like in that area, kind of Upper Valley area. So they've shown interest. There's the Hartford area Tech Center, which has shown interest as well. So we're sort of expecting more numbers to trickle in, but for now we have 5 teams. That means the competition will happen. The competition day is going to be held on May 27th now at Buck Lake Wildlife Management Area in Woodbury, which is pretty close to here, which is my follow-up question. If anyone wants to volunteer themselves for the current issue panel, we need judges for those. I know, Rick, you've been involved in that before, and Sophie and Nancy. Okay, so.
And Russ too.
And Russ, okay, so yeah, if you or you know anyone that wants to get involved in the current issue judging, we're looking for folks to do that. It's not urgent as of now, but yeah, ask around, see who's interested. But it'd be great to have you. In terms of work that's been completed, we took on an intern from UVM. She's been great. She's been doing mainly outreach and recruitment, looking for sort of path for fundraising, looking for grant or donations from companies to donate gifts and prizes for the competition. We're going to keep her on until December, I believe, like mid-December kind of the time.
End of December, yeah.
And then with potential to keep her on based on how many teams we get in the next month.
Yeah, the story there, if you don't mind, is just that we
Yeah.
have some funding that expires at the end of the year that we need to spend down. And so Lucas didn't have enough time to put all the hours
It
in
would've been like
necessary.
20
It would have been
hours a
like
week,
20
yeah.
hours a week of a marathon. And so I made a decision to add the intern to soak up some of that time while we still have the money. So
Yeah.
Great plan.
Yeah.
So she's been great. She's also, well, I guess we've also been working with conservation districts to sort of regionalize coordination, to just kind of get in with schools that maybe we haven't, been able to get into. In terms of current issue collaboration, we have contracted an educator that was an educator in Vermont, but now lives in Tennessee. But she's great, and she's writing up the current issue, so it'll be specific to Vermont. It's not non-point source pollution, but it will be a specific sort of like 3 to 5 page prompt for sort of explaining the issue, and then sort of prompting the students to go out in their general proximity and then explore how non-point source pollution is relative to an area that is near their high school or home. And they'll present on it through the oral presentation, which will be great. So we should have that completed by mid-January. I think January 15th is the date that we should be getting that back. And it'll be great because I can send that out to the schools and then they can prepare for 3 or 4 months. We are developing curriculum such as lesson plans and activities with Lamoille County NRCD. They've got a ton of environmental educators there, and they're pretty much, I think we're meeting with them tomorrow, where they're putting together lesson plans with forestry. I mean, pretty much all of them, but I'm looking on with the presentations and the lesson plans and sort of revising and editing. But they look great so far. It's, teaching students how to use a Biltmore stick or how to deviate of a tree or use the water quality testing kit. And we'll throw those on the VACD website, and then that'll be available for teachers and coaches to use, as well as the study kits. Now that we're back in the office, I can start distributing study kits, which is great. I had like 1 of each at my house, but now that I can sort of pass them out, now that we have more, we can get those out. Otherwise, developing outreach materials, updating website. Julia at VACD communications team has been awesome with helping post on social media, and revising outreach materials. We're trying to get those out on Facebook, Instagram, on the website, passing them along to conservation districts to distribute. So yeah, I think the outreach has been going well, but we'd like for a few more teams to sign up. So I'm also trying to get into schools with the intern to sort of give like a brief 8 to 10 slide presentation about the Envirothon. I want to do like a Chittenden County day where we go to like CVU and Burlington High School and South Burlington, and just kind of talk to their environmental science classes and see, you know, if there's interest there, and then do like a Washington County day where we go to like Harwood and then, you know, the, you know, schools in Washington County. Otherwise, on the right-hand side, I put goals and concerns. My goal is to have 17 signed up before students go away for Christmas break, which I'm hoping does happen because we have had, you know, interest from quite a few schools. Like I said, Chittenden or Washington County School Visit Day with the intern. Trying to build out the resources page on VACD. It's got some good resources, but I think there's Project Learning Tree, which has a lot of great forestry resources. Just trying to add some stuff for students to use and for teachers to incorporate into their curriculum. Possibly a non-point source pollution professional to get in and do like a virtual presentation or sort of add that on. We're doing like, the committee voted to do the virtual training series that we did last year, which would be throughout the month of February. A different station leader would do a different presentation every week. So say like the first Thursday of February, it would be like the soils person, Paul Gadecki, and he would give like an hour-long presentation sort of teaching students. And that would be the substitute for the in-person day that has usually been held at the Marsh Billings Rockefeller site. But maybe sort of like we can squeeze in there like a non-point source pollution professional presentation to kind of speak about the current issue a little bit. I think that'd be great. So I'm gonna sort of work on that with the intern. Station leaders doing school visits with study kids would be nice because we don't have the in-person training day. So if they have the capacity to get into schools and work with students, I'm happy to do that as well. I know the kids pretty well now, but it'd be great to have the station leaders help out too. Concerns, transportation funding. I think that's an annual concern of just lack of funding there. I know the New England Society of Soil Scientists gave a donation last year of like $500. But it'd be great to have funding for like buses for students, just because, you know, for example, Northeast Kingdom students, like if they're driving, you know, south, it could be a 2.5 hour drive depending on where they're going.
You know, White River has a bus.
Oh yeah,
That's right. They own a bus.
Look into that,
okay, good to know.
especially if you're gonna be having teams coming from that area.
Yeah, definitely. No, thank you.
And they
That's
have a
great.
driver.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. And even if
And
it's
she's
just like
certified.
money for reimbursement, like just reimbursing mileage
Yeah.
or something, like just be good. And then I added below interest from teachers. There's no stipend for teachers, so it's just kind of adding on extra work for them. I think that's just been a issue year after year. But so I guess trying to leverage that with lots of fun gifts and donations and prizes at the competition that we can give them. And then, yeah, I added below board members interested in being on the panel for the current issue. But yeah, think about it. I don't need an answer. I'm going to ask around and try to see who's interested, but it'd be great to have like a solid core group of 5 folks to do the judging. So yeah, excited. May 27th in Woodbury.
Oh, and since it's in Woodbury, I'm wondering Hazen might be another school being
right.
right in Hardwick because it's so
Yeah,
close.
Cool. Yeah.
And U32
Mhm.
in terms of local schools. And I know Stafford in the past has sent teams.
Yeah, we actually have so Mark Reishart from the Stafford Tech Center. He's the forestry guy. He's helping out with AJ Follensby, the main forestry guy. So I'm wondering if he can bring a team, if he's also going to be leading the forestry station. But they've been a team that's come. I think,
Yeah,
every
it seems
year.
like they've been. kind of
So
consistent.
no, I should check in and see
Maybe there's a way
what the deal is there.
Yeah, someone else can do it, but that just seems like it's strong.
Yeah,
They've got a program.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like these tech centers, these career and tech centers have like robust natural resource programs,
Yeah.
which I was doing some research.
Yeah, and I'm not, I mean, the bond though just went down to build on the Century Month,
Mhm.
but I don't know if they have programs in this area or not, actually. The one very,
Yeah,
but that's would be the closest one, so.
Yeah. Yeah, so right now it's just trying to get him and
Yeah.
see, do some in-person visits, but
Lucas, as far as building out resources page, just, the DEC does an every other year required report for EPA. It's called the 305B report,
cool.
and
Okay.
it's the state of the state's water quality.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I feel like that'd be good to throw on.
yeah, definitely think about putting that up.
Yeah, for sure.
Not particularly technical, so easy to read,
Mhm.
broken out in chapters, rivers, lakes, wetlands.
Definitely. Yeah.
And
We've got it sectioned out like per station.
Yeah.
Pretty much, so it'd be good to go on.
so, the 305B report, which, is done every even numbered year, so it was, the most recent is 2024.
Okay.
And then, the Lake Champlain Basin Program, they do the state of the state, state of the lake
Say it like,
report.
yeah, right.
And so, there's a bunch of stuff in there on point source
Mhm.
pollutants, but predominantly it's non-point.
Yeah, right. And I'm hoping that the educator that we hired on to do the current issue will add in some resources as well. But yeah, like Lake Champlain Basin Program, the Sea Grant has a bunch of educational resources. I know that, and then it's good to know that the DEC has the 305. Okay.
And then there's the 303D list.
Yeah.
The list of impaired waters.
Okay. Oh yeah, right.
So
Right. Good to know.
anyway,
Yeah,
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Another resource would be the Clean Water Investment Report, right? The Clean Water Fund
Mhm.
report. But it takes some parsing out, but it's searchable.
Okay.
That report. Who came to mind for a stormwater resource person is the person that's shared by DEC and Sea Grant. Do you know who I talk about? Who I mean?
Jill.
Is it Jill Sarrazin?
Is it Jill
Yeah,
Sarrazin?
Jill
Yeah.
Sarrazin.
She might be a good.
I frequently am emailing with her, so
She might be a good
I think
panelist.
yeah, that's a good point. Right. Well, cool. Yeah, it's coming along, and looking forward to updating you guys in January. Thanks, Gordon.
Yeah, thrilled honestly that we have 5 teams.
Yeah.
This was a real struggle last year, in
Yeah.
part because of the transition timing, right? When Macy left and Lucas came on, and it didn't happen. And it's like in such a better place this year that,
Yeah,
really happy.
congratulations.
Yeah,
That's
thanks.
great.
I'm looking forward to it. Of course. I'd like to, it'd be cool to have like 10 teams. Like when I was up in New Hampshire one, there was like middle school teams there. Like it was like 15 or 16 teams. So yeah, it'd be good to get as many high schoolers involved. Honestly.
Buck Lakes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that spot is actually the wildlife folks at the Thomas and Hannah Phelps, who are the station leaders. They
Mhm.
do frequent environmental programming there, so like it should be good. So they have pretty much full reign on that site.
Mhm.
So we had to move the date actually from the 20th to the 27th because of like high school AP testing. So I'm hoping the 27th is the solidified concrete date.
Thank you, Lucas.
Yeah.
Kara?
Yeah, we have a paper that looks like this in here. I think Heather and I are just gonna go over some programs we've been working on. I'm gonna talk about Vermont Paper Performance. We've started task 2. About a month-ish ago, Heather and I got to go out with Sumner and Jamie just to do a training on field verification, which was great. And they took us through that process. So we're working on finalizing the farmers' actual assessments with them as well as doing their field verification. So far we have done 2 out of the 6 visits, and we have 2 at the end of the week, 1 Thursday, 1 Friday, then 2 at the beginning of next week. So we'll be finishing up all those verifications before Thanksgiving. And yeah, during that time, we get their manure and fertilizer records from them so we can update their actual assessments to what they actually did during the season. We start at the beginning by doing what's predicted and then update that with what they actually did. And then for verifications, we get maps and look at their predicted practices for fields, pick out some fields and just verify that they did that for the season. It's been great. It's a really good opportunity just to talk to farmers about their year, and we've heard a little about the struggles of the drought this year. Got to talk to them about resources they may need, and we also are working with farmers on this, that we work on other things. We get to connect with them on things they need in the future as well. So we're working on that right now. And then something else I added in is just soil testing and NMPs. We talked to Emily Newmer and Michelle a little bit earlier, and we were able to just offer some free soil sampling through Ag with the completion of the conservation practice survey. This has actually been really great. We've gotten a lot of emails from producers that we haven't worked with in the past, some vegetable producers that already have standing relationships with NRCS and already doing some work and need some extra TA assistance. So far in the fall, we have done soil testing for 5 producers for this program and also for NMPs, and then we already have 4 producers lined up in the spring that want testing, so that's really good. In addition, for NMPs, we have 4 active NMPs we'll be updating and finishing up this winter, and 2 more potential ones we also have.
And then some other stuff we've been doing along the same lines of soil testing and Vermont Paper Performance. We helped with another state program called the Farm Agronomic Practices Program, FAP. And we helped the producer up in Cabot get their verification documents all sorted out for that program so that they can get paid for the cover crop that they installed. That was actually, I should have started with the SEEP program that we also helped with 2 applicants, but regardless, the FAP project got brought to us from the state because they had a surplus of work and saw how well we had worked with clients in the SEED program, so that they offered us an opportunity to do this FAP verification. So we were very happy when that came to fruition, and we got kind of a distress email towards the end of the week asking for us to do it before it snowed live and everything. So that was really great. And just seeing how like things are coming together. But the other project that we've been working on is the SEED program, Capitalist Equipment Assistance Program. So we helped 2 applicants apply for that. Projects included a no-till drill for one client and then a manure spreader for the other to manage a thudded pack material. So we were happy to do that, and the town service were Essex and Shelburne. So 2 clients there. So all in all, we got those grants together, and we're happy to help those producers in that capacity as well. Yeah, and through these conversations that we've been having, we're developing like great relationships with these clients, and more work seems to be coming down the pike because of it. So one of the NMPs that we're likely going to develop is a client that came to us with interest in SEEP. We saw the need for soil testing. We saw the need for the NMP. He actually, the state had recommended he come to us for his NMP, but then all these other projects are kind of bubbling up because of it. So we're just excited for the potential of helping these clients. So yeah. That's kind of what we've been up to in a nutshell, I'd say.
Yeah, and I would add that I kind of like Heather alluded to, I feel like we're turning a little bit of a corner. We've been really struggling a little bit since Kat left to get some momentum, and Kara and Phoebe before Heather, and then Heather have been doing lots of outreach, and felt like we were spinning our wheels a little bit and not getting anywhere. And I think now we are finally kind of doing things for producers, and the word of mouth is starting to happen again, which is how Kat honestly met most of the producers she worked with, is through word of mouth. And that process is starting up again, and that the state is coming to us for help, I think is a really good sign as like reliable partners. So I'm very happy with all 3 of them. But yeah, like the ag program in particular is just making a great turn, and I'm pretty psyched about that. So
Yeah, that's really good. So good to do.
any questions for?
Yeah, great. Keep the ball going. That's fantastic.
Well, maybe I'll just bring it here because Heather and I were chatting about this, you know, when we were going to pick up pizza. is, you know, intentionally reaching out to producers, maybe particularly female producer in Chittenden County for interest on this board, because we know we have people who have been willing to serve longer than they ever intended to, but said, you know, that we would. So I would just encourage you both, you know, if
Agreed.
it makes logical sense, people that you're already working with. You know, I don't think we can wait until. I think we need to proactively ask people, would you be interested in just attending a meeting, or you explain to them about it? Because it really is.
Yep.
And it'd be really great to have them on it.
Yep. And Rick and I worked this year to try to find somebody. We got closer than we did last year. We got a couple of maybes instead of just no's. And one of them was a female farmer in Westford, who's also on the Conservation Commission, who we've been working with. And she was like, maybe.
Yeah.
And so maybe next year, I'm going to ask her again next year. I told her I would.
Yeah. We were brainstorming some names a little bit. But I just encourage you, just talk to people. Think we haven't.
Yeah, and you know, to the extent that you are so having this on hand, where it's a one double-sided piece of paper where you can kind of give them the 5,000-foot overview of who we are and what we're doing. So, yeah, definitely. Thank you. Dan?
Yeah, brief updates from me on new projects. So for the past month or so, I've spent a lot of my time writing grants for the future. It would be easier if I knew which ones we were going to get beforehand, but we don't. So I just spend time writing as many as we can we have good ideas for, right? We don't want to waste our time, but as many as we have good ideas for, I write. And then we hope we get as many of them as we can. Some that we were recently awarded. I'll say, I think at this point this year, since July, we've written like 20 to 30 grants. So, and there's going to be more, coming. So, but these, we got at least 4 have been awarded to us. Others are pending, right? 2 QUISP grants, which are our first 2 QUISP grants, which is exciting. So one from Basin 5, which is Northern Lake Champlain direct drainage, to do some scoping to look at some old plantings that we've done at the district and see if they need sprucing up, basically. That's what the adoption process is for operations and maintenance. So Lucas and I visited 2, one at Essex High School and one in Shelburne at the Shelburne Vineyards. Both of them actually look pretty good, apart from, which is they're almost 10 years old, 9 years old at this point. So they look reasonably good, except for a bunch of invasive species. That's really the only thing that was wrong with them. But other than that, they look fine. The next step, we just got some guidance from DEC this week. We can adopt these as a district, which means that the QUISP will pay us to basically go back every year and see that they're still functioning as buffers and then do whatever we need to do. And that whatever we need to do is yet to be determined. DEC has been kind of fuzzy about what that means. Do we need to remove the invasives? Do we need to replant things that we planted that died? Because one of the things about the buffers is that they were functioning as buffers, but probably only about 30% of the plants that we planted were there. They're just other volunteer trees that had grown up in their place. And that's fine. It will still function as a buffer, but do we need to try to bend it to what we had intended it to be? Again, DEC has been not super clear on what they want from us. So that's an in process, but this will should get translated into another grant to do long-term monitoring on these sites and long-term maintenance, which is great. Won't be a ton of money, but it'll be something, you know? And then in Basin 7, we have some money to go up to the town forest in Westford and look at this new project type, which is looking at old logging roads and maintaining those roads so they don't just dump sediments into streams and rivers. And we did a training or did some work at Rich's property or your family's property. And then we're going to go up to, Lucas and I will have a plan to go up to Westford to look at their town forest, which they do log occasionally. We had something on the books last week, but we got snowed out.
It snowed like 12 inches up there.
So we're hoping to get out before winter really hits, but if the snow's here to stay, we may just wait till the spring. So we'll see. And then 2 LCBP grants, the Walter Kelly River River Access, that's in Middlesex, right near Red Hen. And this is really just for designs. So the community would like designs for what that river access might look like. And then we don't include any kind of implementation money in this. It's just trying to come up with a community agreed upon vision for what this river access might look like. And then the fourth one, the Ice House Lake Road access, is actually money that's not held by us. So we ghost wrote this grant for the town of Milton, and with the agreement that we would manage the project if they were to receive the money. And they did, which is great. And this one, they actually did already have some plans. And so now this is really just about putting a portion of those plans, like a phase 1 of those plans, into effect. This is something that Henry, who is not on the call today, I don't think. Yeah, Henry actually brought to our attention because he's a Milton resident. So this was cool. I was glad we could do that and glad they got the money. So that's something, both of those will kind of be kicking off in the summer, right? I mean, LCBP, once they give you the money, it takes a long time to activate the grant, so to speak. So these will be a little bit down the road, but looking forward to it.
Is that Lake Arrowhead?
It is. Yep. And right next to the dam, basically, is this parcel is right next to the dam. So there are going to be some interesting questions about how to work with Green Mountain Power and with FERC, the Federal Energy Commission, to any kind of permitting that will be needed there. So that will be an interesting potential challenge to this project. But they seem to be on board, more or less, Green Mountain Power, which is we couldn't get them to write like a letter of support, but they are more or less on board with doing something with that land. So
Excellent.
Yeah.
And you said that you wrote 20 to 30.
yeah,
We got
Holy smokes.
we got the green light on these 4, and then how many is everything else pending?
pending. We did get denied one, which was for to do the same thing we did for Basin 5, but for Basin 3, which is Otter Creek, because we have a little sliver of the Otter Creek in our district in Charlotte. And we had done 2 plantings there, I think, like maybe 10 years ago. And we'd actually been reached out to by their regional planning commission to try to replant some of the stuff, some failed plantings Lucas and I have visited that did very, very badly. They didn't give it to us. They gave it to Rory at the Addison, at the Otter Creek district, to do those and some that were in his district. And then tried to follow up with them to do like, well, now that you've scoped them, can we adopt them? Maybe write a joint application with Otter Creek to kind of do all the sites. And I think they're giving all that work to the land trust. So I don't think there's really like a path forward there, but that was the one that they said no on. The one that I know that has been rejected, and I have a spreadsheet. There may have been 1 or 2 others, but most of them are pending.
Okay.
LCBP grants, state
Shadowland.
grants,
Tim Hunt property.
some stuff, some Lake Iroquois Watershed Action Plan follow-up stuff, some Basin 8 Winooski Quisp in progress. Lucas just submitted an application on Friday,
Yeah, that should
last Friday.
presenting tomorrow.
Right, tomorrow is the Basin Water Quality Council meeting, so that won't get voted on tomorrow. Their policy is that it gets a viewing and then it gets voted on the next month, so it won't be voted on until December.
That would be a 4-acre planting in Shelburne, and then like a tiny sliver up to South Burlington.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
Yeah.
pretty good. It's on the Muddy Creek, which flows right to Shelburne Pond.
And we're working with Macy on that one, so that's
Yeah,
a
and
fun,
Macy, so yeah,
a fun
Audubon
overlap.
has interest
Yeah.
in that because there's golden wing warblers and bobolinks in that area. So we're gonna methodically plant, shrubland species, and
Yeah.
should be good.
So, yeah, lots of grant activity, digging myself out a little bit of a hole on other things now, but yeah, and like I said, more to come, and hopefully we get a good number of them. Some big kind of money targets next year are grant that we already have, which is the Woodchuck Hollow culvert replacement. And now that Fish and Wildlife is back, that should start moving forward again. We're still waiting for some extra money from the state on that one to hire some people, and then the Rouleau Pond Dam, which I've submitted a couple of grants for. is another, in Williamstown is another one we'd like to take out, and that would be 2 large pots of money. So a little bit concerned about the federal limit, but we'll see what we actually get and what we don't. Because I did apply to LCBP for money for Rural Pond Dam, but I also applied to other funding sources, like state funding sources. And if it's state money, then it wouldn't matter. But if it's LCBP money, then it does. So we'll see.
What, for like an audit?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the audit threshold. Yeah. We were close-ish last year with the dam in Washington. And I think they just actually, Pat, maybe did they increase that limit for the threshold federal audit? It's $1.5 million now.
It's, I don't know, I think
It's a
it's a
million.
million.
It's $1 million now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a million.
So-
But it's what you spend, not what you receive. So
Right,
that's
it's
it.
Right.
expenses.
You could tinker a little bit with which funder you spend first. Which funder you spend first to stay below that threshold.
Right. So if it becomes an issue, we'll have to get creative with how we spend the money. But to the extent that we're legally allowed to do so.
Visions of Enron.
Yeah, Enron.
You know, the frying pan.
So it's a good and a bad problem to have, right? It's good that we're doing some these big infrastructure projects that have large price tags, but the downside is then that we get more scrutiny. So yeah, more work for Pat. Well, we had an unsolicited audit last summer from the state.
Financial review.
A financial review. I'm sorry.
Wasn't an
It wasn't an
but I
audit.
sure felt like it.
So we're hoping we don't have to do that again. It wouldn't be next summer; it'd be the summer after, right? But yeah. Anyway, that's all I've got. If happy to field other questions, though, if people have them.
Great.
We've been busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've
Oh my
all been
gosh,
busy.
20.
We've all been busy. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Dan, Heather, Kara, Lucas, for all your work and your summary. Annual dinner. And that was, there was an outstanding committee, Dan and Rich, Nancy.
And Russ,
Russ.
who's not here. He's not online.
Yeah,
So
apologize, I couldn't make it and help out for the big day, but in the emergency department with my daughter, actually several times over a few weeks. So it was kind of, a lot of medical issues we're trying to deal with. But anyway, it's like, this is the day, but you know, I need to be where I need to be. So
It was very understandable.
yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
We were thinking of you. And
Yeah, and appreciate all the help you put in on the steering committee too. Yeah. So yeah, I just put this on here. If
Yeah.
people had any feedback about things we could do better, things that went well. Personally, was thrilled with the turnout. I think when we first sat down as a committee, we were like, if we get a dozen people, we'll be happy. And we ended up with like 50 plus people, which was great.
Yeah, and you closed the registration, right? We didn't want to exceed the capacity.
I didn't actually end up having to close it, but we got right up to the number. And then we had some cancellations the day of, right? But we got right up to the number.
Yeah, I think it was great. I think a few lessons learned is expect some cancellations.
Yeah.
You know, and also in terms of food, we ordered way too much food, so we could save
Yeah.
money next time. People don't eat that much and expect cancellations and order less. Don't worry about food, but
Yeah.
But I was very pleased. Just like we did it.
We did do it.
I've been talking about this. You know, it was the first one that's happened since I've been on this board. So that was
Yeah.
I enjoyed being a guest.
Yeah,
we were so
Yeah.
glad you came.
we
That's
were.
fun.
Yeah.
No, and David Mears, you know, got this uncanny ability of looking like he's just winging it. But then at the end, he kind of brings it all around. And so
Yeah.
it was a good choice for David as our speaker. You know, and he's very approachable. And he can talk, you know, to anyone's level. So, and his message was very appropriate. So, hats off to the committee for.
Yeah.
picking
I think
him.
having a speaker and having awards too, and I think we can, you know, we can build on that. But it was great, and I think some other people there too. Yeah. So yeah, I'm curious when we think about next year to, you know, could we find a location that actually provides food and cost that out? You know,
Right.
that would kind of, you know, that we can kind of hoping, you know, that this will be a
Yeah, we
template that will improve on. for
used to have them every year.
Right,
know.
exactly. So I think that's the goal to have one every year.
And
In
they
church
run,
basement, right?
they run about 40 or 50 people every year.
Yeah.
And that's what we ended
so-
up. Yeah. So,
Uh,
and I know Russ brought up on a number of occasions the visits, the forest and farm visits. And
Yes.
if that's in maybe not next year, but as we kind of get our feet under us and this becomes routine, that's something we can bring back in.
Right, and it could be part of this or it could be separate.
Sure. Right.
You know, not everybody can. Yeah, but it was, you know, I think there was good partner representation there, which was great. So,
legislators.
yes, and
Yeah.
legislator
Yeah.
turnout, which was nice, not just to our awardees, but, you know, at least one of their was also, so that's good.
Yeah. 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 And we'll have to put our heads together about it. I think the speaker helped kind of bring people in, and I agree with you. I think the awards helped bring people in. And
Yeah.
yeah. And there are a couple of people who, you know, just saw our email and signed up, which was interesting too, right? Had no real reason to be there other than
Yeah.
they wanted to come, which was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you did a good job of advertising early.
Yeah,
I was telling Nancy I had that on my calendar since July or
Yeah.
something.
so, I mean, that's a good thing to remember.
Yeah,
Getting the date
right.
out there early, save the date. You know, we don't really have to know a lot. We don't even have to know the location to do it. Well, I guess you can't really pick the date. For the location, whatever.
Yeah. Date and time, right? Like this time, this day. Maybe I guess I use the location, but yeah, say have the date. Say the date early is a good idea. Coordinating with other districts, because there were 2 other districts that had dinners that night, which I was only became aware of like the night before.
Oh.
I think none of us really knew each
Yeah.
other were having dinners until it became apparent that
Yeah.
we were. Like Orleans and Caledonia, I think, had dinners that night. So, yeah. And so like Julia, for example, from VACD couldn't come to ours because
Yeah.
they wanted to spread out and
Yeah.
go to everybody's. And so
Yeah.
she went to one of the other ones, right? Totally fine, understandable, but yeah.
Okay. Well, looking forward to the 2026 annual dinner. Board elections, updates.
Yeah, we touched on this a little bit as a group already. We received 1 petition from Nancy. Thank you, Nancy. She retains her seat in the face of no challengers.
Today's not till December 8th.
That's right. I've already told Claire. I've already sent Claire our bill for the election process. So yeah, so Nancy's staying on. I should have written it down in front of me. I don't know whose term is up next. But I have it all written down somewhere. Thank you for your willingness to serve or to continue to serve. And yeah, keep asking people if they'd like to jump on board. And what I'll say, one of the things that people often say is, well, I can't go to a meeting in the middle of the day. And I do tell them, like, it's flexible, right? This is not set in stone. We can do evening meetings if we need to, right? So, but just so make sure people know that if they can't, they are currently working, they're not retired, they can't meet for a chunk of time during the day, tell them we can just reschedule our meetings, right? It's not a huge deal. So.
And we have the remote option.
That's the other thing, right? So if you live in Chittenden County and we have our meetings here or somewhere else in Washington County and you want to Zoom in, totally fine, right?
So yeah, I don't know if this is the schedule, then, for other districts, we're halfway down, right? Petitions are due. Election day hasn't happened yet, so I don't know what the demand is elsewhere, but by the middle of January, there'll be an updated supervisor directory.
That's correct. Yep. That is correct.
So Paul and Rich, we're continuing to look because we know that you're serving, thankfully, but on an interim basis until we can find a replacement through appointment. So we're not looking for the next election to,
Correct. Yeah.
but if someone wants to be appointed, then we could get to you. So,
We can send out like a mass email to conservation commissions like we did for the tree sale.
We could.
Or Sean
Yep.
White has the UVM watershed forestry.
There'll,
newsletter.
yeah, there's lots of distribution lists that we should maybe tap better.
Because it's in our newsletter, but I feel like there's other
Yeah.
avenues we could take.
Council doesn't add an ag learn, right? Council doesn't add an ag learn, right?
oh yeah, ag review.
Ag review, sorry, yes.
Yeah,
Ag
we-
review.
We worked
Yeah.
through the Agency of Agriculture. They agreed to put in like a little block notice,
Yeah.
and that happens in September. Because there's publishing time and the next issue's too late, so it comes out pretty early, but basically it just calls for interest for people to contact their local district if they want to get more details. But yeah, we use that platform too. Okay. So it's 11:20. We're gonna try to adjourn at or before 1. So this is the last item on this side of the page.
Yeah, I can speak to this. So there's kind of a smattering of items under this next heading. But the first one, I mean, timely discussion, health insurance rates are going to be changing, right? We don't know exactly what that will look like, but we know that they will be. The way our district currently does things is that you have two options, right? You can either take an MVP plan through the district and you have that $6,000 stipend that gets applied to that plan pre-tax, or you can get your own insurance on the free market and get that $6,000 as taxable income. Basically, it's $6,000 raise, which is intended to be used to purchase health insurance. There is a third way, which some districts have adopted. I think at least Grand Isle, and this is this
Grand
health.
Isle, White River,
Okay.
and they're all very happy with it, just to preface it. But-
Yep. So yeah, so there's a one pager in your packet too about this with basically what I'm about to say is the idea that you can have a third party hold this $6,000 so that our staff could go get insurance on the free market and then bill this third party up to the $6,000 or whatever limit we establish, right? I think the max
I
is.
think right now it's 6,350.
Yeah, I've got it on there.
I'm not sure what the 2026 limit is.
But the idea then is that staff wouldn't have to take that 6,000 as taxable income, right? So it wouldn't like bump you up into a different tax bracket or whatever, right? You just like that money is not theirs; it's for insurance. So it's a third option that we should maybe consider to adopt in the district. And what it would mean is we would basically stop offering our MVP plan.
MVP's rate, I think they're I haven't seen the new rate schedule yet. I think it's out, but they were anticipating approximately a 5% increase. Right now, we have 1 employee on MVP. We have 3 employees taking the health stipend.
Right.
The beauty of this HRA is the benefit to the employer as well. You have that $6,350 available to you. You apply, you submit your expenses to, for instance, a third party like PeopleKeep, which the 2 other districts are using. It takes away all of the HIPAA liability. They take care of all of that. We don't see anything. We don't see any of your medical records. And the benefit to the employer is you only reimburse as far as what they submit. If they don't submit $6,350 a year, that's the benefit to the employer. It's what you guys would submit. The other benefit to the employer is the payroll taxes. We're paying payroll taxes on your stipends.
Right.
And that's averages out to almost $500 a year per employee. So there would be a savings there as well. It's something to think about, but everybody that the two districts that I'm working with that use it, the employees love it.
Mhm.
It's administered by, it should be the person who processes payroll, because PeopleKeep notifies as the payroll processing person, and says you've got reimbursements due, you approve them, you hit a button and say it's going to be in your next paycheck. So the turnaround, there's no lag time. The turnaround is great. You can use it for health insurance, medical, dental, vision, physical therapy. It's a lot more, you have a lot more options than you do with a health insurance policy. I believe you can even go out of network.
As
And
in
that's a
your
big
primary-
issue right now. Pardon?
Your primary care provider would bill this.
No,
What?
no.
They
This
bill
is-
you,
you
and
Oh, and then
pay-
you would bill it.
and
Okay.
then
Yeah.
you bill that.
Yeah.
So that does mean it's reimbursement.
It's
You
a
have to pay
reimbursement.
out of
Yeah.
It's a
pocket.
health reimbursement account.
Up to $6,000.
6,350.
You know, so are there, so it sounds like one person is on MVP. I mean, I heard it suggested if we did this, we would drop MVP, but where does that leave the person who's on this plan?
That person could just go onto an MVP plan, just not through us, right? So it wouldn't be a small group plan, it would just be an individual plan, or they
With his
could,
plan, but then he can get reimbursed through the health reimbursement.
Okay. But is there, I wonder, is there a downside to that? If you have to get an individual plan versus whatever the district offers?
the rates are slightly different. They're not massively different it varies widely versus single versus family, right? But they're not, the small group plan is honestly not that much better than just an individual plan. It is a little better, but it's not that much better.
And VSCD's had staff go on the exchange. And
Well, that's the other thing is they could go to Vermont Health Connect
Yeah.
and
if you're on the open
paying
market.
us,
So
even though we still offer plan, but some have still done. I mean,
yeah,
And it sounds like it makes a lot of sense. And was, you know.
This
employees
these plans came out a few years ago when health insurance started to skyrocket, and they developed these plans. They're federally approved, they're approved plans and everything. But for the small employer, it was a real bonus.
so we don't necessarily need to make a vote on it now, but it's something, if you want to, you can, right? But
If you want to do it, the transition should be January 1st.
Right.
otherwise we would need to
So
wait
it's
probably
open
till next
enrollment
year.
now.
Right.
Well,
If we
right,
don't
so-
decide now, we'd be putting it off for an entire year.
More or
So
less,
we-
yeah.
It would make
Yeah.
sense to make, I mean,
Well, because payroll is calendar, so it makes sense to transition.
right.
And if, for instance, his premium's going up in January, that might be the time to do it.
Yeah. Well, is there any downside to making this change?
The downside is their paychecks are gonna be less. But
Yeah,
that's,
all of our
you know.
paychecks will be less.
that's the thing with the health stipend, not necessarily being used for health expenses.
I see.
Yeah, right. If you don't actually use the whole
Yeah.
health stipend for
It's-
your
it becomes a
insurance, then it just
supplement to your
becomes
income.
right. So that is a potential that, and like you said, based on the timing of when you get your bill versus when you get your paycheck, you may have to pay out of pocket the premium
Right.
before you get the reimbursement, right? Or you may get them
Right.
around the same time. It will depend month to month, honestly, right?
Like, okay, so here's another question. How are staff feeling about this change?
Good
And
question.
are you in favor of it? Would you want to see action taken?
Yeah,
one way or the
no,
other
I'm
way
all
another
for
year?
it. I think it's a great idea.
Pardon?
I'm all for it. I think it's a great idea. Yeah,
Well,
Dan
you
explained it
gotta
to me
throw
this
in
morning.
dental and vision and all of that stuff that's not covered too.
Right.
It would be covered under this.
Oh, yeah, this covers everything. Over the counter, everything.
Yeah, because the other thing is if you're getting, yeah, I guess, and maybe this is a question for you. If you're on a joint plan with your spouse through their employer, would you be able to submit those expenses to People Keep or not?
Well, it depends if
Right.
we're gonna offer a family plan
Right.
on the People Keep, there's that option. But we don't offer family on
The stipend.
medical.
Yeah.
Insurance right now.
So that might be potentially an issue.
How does that work out? Like if you're on your spouse's plan or something?
Right.
Right.
Is it just like negated then?
Right. Would
I
you
think
do?
you could submit your portion. They're very flexible.
Right.
And you would all be set up with your individual accounts. You go into the portal, you deal with them directly. The only thing that we would do is your reimbursements. We
Which
have
would-
no knowledge of anything else.
which would show up in the paycheck, which
Yeah.
would show up in your paycheck.
Well, that does sound like that could be a, I don't know how it affects people, but could be something to consider. Because so I think the downside could be then, if I understand this, you're just not able to spend that much, right? Because of one person, even if it's broader. And so then and as an employer, you're losing some of the benefit we don't have. So
Sure,
we don't want
right.
to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not in favor of making a change that is going to provide less of a benefit. In other words,
Yeah.
so.
No, for sure. That's why we're bringing it up here, right, to
So
discuss,
I
right?
guess the question is, do we have enough information to make a decision today? And it sounds like if we don't, and if staff on what time to figure it out, then we're bumping it to another year.
Yeah, and I apologize, I would have brought this up earlier, but
Yeah,
it's
no,
a
no.
discussion that, and I was only made aware of it recently
Right.
at a district manager meeting, right? So,
We just want to
yeah,
make sure we're not doing anything that's going to actually
understood. No, I agree.
provide less of a benefit.
I agree.
Sure, you guys can see that.
I can just share what the VACD has what's called a cafeteria plan. It's
Yeah.
a little different.
Yeah.
Because the amount is dedicated to the employee.
Do you do that through a health insurance company?
We work with Blue Cross Blue Shield,
Yeah.
but we had a consultant set it up, so there are administrative fees.
Yeah.
But the employee doesn't lose what's allocated to them, so whatever is used for, eligible expenses is tax-free, including health insurance premiums.
I see.
But if there's a balance, then the employee can get that balance and is treated as salary. So the balance then is taxed.
Yeah.
So and you can add things to it like childcare, dependent care,
Yeah.
some things like that. It's a bit more complicated than what
Yeah.
you're talking about. There's a setup cost, but it's a few $1,000s and there are administrative fees.
Yeah.
That's what we've done. So that we also do not.
I think that's appropriate for a large employer. I mean, you guys are much bigger than us.
Yeah, we're a little bigger.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm wondering if that is not the right scale.
yeah.
Even though the flexibility sounds good, and the cost might be more, makes sense for one.
Yeah.
But do you guys have any questions? I mean, concerns?
So I'll just be completely transparent. I'm on my husband's plan, and like the money that I get, like in my paycheck, like goes to offset that health insurance cost. And I just like, if we transition to this and like, then it's all just like, I'm not gonna change my insurance plan.
No.
So, I just wonder where that leaves.
But,
us
and you
in genetics.
your reimbursement requests can be more than what we're paying you.
Yeah.
So we should,
So-
sounds like we should maybe ask People Keep how that would be handled.
Yeah.
If we have someone who's on a spouse's plan and how do we figure out the share that we then bill People Keep for, right?
I can find that out. And I also will ask the question about rolling over anything that you don't use.
Okay,
I believe you can.
That would be.
So
Okay.
Which would just be taxable.
No, it would just stay in the
it
account.
stays in
Okay.
your People Keep account
Okay.
and you can keep applying.
Oh,
for
okay,
it.
gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah. So
So if you don't use it, you don't lose it.
Although-
I just want to verify that.
Right. I mean, that's great, except if you didn't use it because, there wasn't enough demand for you
Yeah.
as an individual.
But then if you do have a big demand,
Right.
it's there for
Right.
you.
because it can be used, it's not just premiums, it can also be medical bills themselves,
That's-
right?
yeah,
So,
That's curious.
yeah.
Yeah.
Co-pays
Yeah.
and uncovered expenses.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it is premiums, but it can be other things
Right,
besides that.
right.
Yeah.
So even if I'm not saying that's what we would do, but we couldn't figure out a way to get the premium like shoehorned in, like any of the bills could be then put to People Keep, whether that's a thing you want to do it, but just
It's
As an
essentially
option, right?
HSA.
it's not really a savings account because a savings account would be like pulling out of your income to set aside for like you to,
Right,
it's,
yeah. Right,
it's,
it was
yeah,
separate,
it's a
okay.
different thing,
Yeah.
but, yeah,
Well, if you find out answers that, I'm just wondering.
that and
if
I'll-
we'd be
I'll
able
pass
to
it
make
on
a
to
Yep,
Dan,
and I'll
you guys can
circulate,
decide.
yeah.
Could we make a decision?
You can decide at your
if
staff
we wanted
meeting.
to
Open meeting law probably says we can't.
Well, even if we, so if we do a conference call, it's recorded.
If we do a conference call, we just have to, I think we have to warn it
Yeah.
24 hours ahead of time or something, like a select board meeting, basically same thing. We would just have to announce it on our website, just that, hey, there's a special meeting happening
Yeah.
tomorrow, and then we can have a conference call and do it. It'd
Yeah.
be fine. We just have to
And it might
jump
be-
through some hoops to make.
It might be worth asking them the question about 10 family members submit claims under that plan, would there be any?
I'm pretty
Additional
sure that I have seen them. There are a couple of employees that have children, and I'm pretty sure that they have covered their expenses too, but I will check on that.
That sounds like,
Dependent.
because it sounds like it would impact some of
Yeah.
the staff.
So I maybe we'll leave it that, pending the results of these questions, if you, Dan, and staff want
Yeah.
to see this change, you can come, you can have the Rick and we can schedule a
Yeah.
quick meeting in December.
For sure. Yeah. And if you one-on-one contact, be honest with me about what your opinions are, right? And if you really don't feel comfortable, just write me a letter without your name on it. And no, for real, right? So that
We
you
want
don't
to do what works for you.
exactly right. But so if there is an opposition, please let me know. So I want to make sure that the voice is heard, right? So
And did you say the two districts that are on it now is White River and
Grand Isle.
Grand Isle?
And they're two really different districts. Grand Isle has one employee,
Yes.
and there are 5 employees in White River that are on it. They're all very happy with it, and they came off of stipends to this program.
So again, if you do have any concerns, I can't answer them, but maybe if you were to call.
Well, let me find out. Let me find out
Okay.
when people keep their.
Sounds like a great opportunity. It sounds like a great opportunity. It sounds
Yeah,
like
it's a great
looks like
opportunity
it.
for everybody, for us to,
Yeah,
for the employer.
Somehow you've got to, make it come into, if that's what we do, into effect before the time limit, right?
well, that's what we're saying. We'll have to have some sort of a
Yeah.
vote and make it happen before then. So
Make it happen this year.
correct.
So we're
Right.
not waiting for this time
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next thing, phones. I know that the ag people use their cell phones, and I honestly use my cell phone as well. It might be good to have a phone of our own, because in case this happens again, and we don't have access to our phones here, which we're all unplugged for the past 40 however many days. There do exist things called virtual phones. You can get them through Google. It will integrate with all our other Google stuff. Yeah, it would be there. I think it's $10 a month. We don't, again, just a suggestion, but as a backup, and it's something we could list on our website that will always be active, as opposed to listing the government phones that, as we've seen, may get turned off from time to time. So just bringing that up. The next items are similar, right? So we've already got a PO box. I think we should probably just make that perpetual. We've got it for a year, so we have a year to decide whether we want to keep it or not.
Dan has the key.
I have the key.
And if
Pat
you
has a
walk-
spare.
Walking distance to his house.
That's right. I can walk down to the post office and check
works
them out. It does work out. But I think we maybe should just keep it to add some stability. And then district office space. I bring this up again only because we haven't had an office for the past 43 days. And the places where we've met in coffee shops or whatever, and that works, but it's not ideal. We had talked last time about 2 spaces. Maybe if we're worried about expenses, maybe we just rent one of the 2 spaces, right? And if it's one of the 2, it's the Winooski Valley Parks District, because they have storage space for equipment, right? Central Vermont Regional Planning doesn't have a place to take our equipment. They also may be moving out of that building anyway because of other reasons. And I don't know, it'd be a bit chaotic to move there. But this would also provide a phone, right? That maybe we wouldn't need that virtual phone, because there's a phone at this office, right, that we could use. And if we wanted to still have board meetings here in Central Vermont, there are places that we can do that, right? Libraries, VNRC, though their parking wasn't great. North Branch Nature Center is a little expensive, but there are places that we could have a board meeting in Central Vermont if that's desired. But I just, again, put these things on the table again, given the context of what we went through. For open discussion. And then yesterday, Karen and I visited Vermont Flower Farm. We're kind of still always on the hunt for this nursery that we're trying to start up. And Vermont Flower Farm in Marshfield's been for sale for a number of years. They've been looking for a buyer. He's trying to find the right person because he really wants the farm to continue. And so he wants someone who can buy the farm, who will continue farming. That seemed like an interesting opportunity because it could potentially provide us with land to farm on as well as an office because there is a building there. I would say that after having visited, it's not maybe as nice as of an opportunity as I thought that it was, only because that building would need a lot to be an office space. It has no running water. It's just a building with electricity. There's no bathroom. So as it currently stands, would not be functional as an office space for us. And so I'm thinking probably not. Though the land itself is nice, is a good spot. But if it can't also function as an office without like a substantial financial investment, and he said they're like a mile away from the nearest water line. So I don't even know how you would get water there, even if you wanted a water hookup. So that's how that went. I had put it on here. I was a little bit more optimistic when I wrote this agenda than I am this morning after having visited yesterday. But the guy who owns it, George, was a very nice man, super knowledgeable, and yeah. So anyway.
So what does he draw out of the river?
Yeah.
Okay.
For irrigation. Yeah. And for drinking water, he must just bring water with him every day, because there's
I mean, that's very close to where I live, and it's a very high price tag, I believe. I mean, if you talk-
450. I think he was initially asking 750.
Oh, I had heard $1 million.
Oh
He's
no,
come
it's
way down.
yeah, 450. And the way we would do it is the way that Pulteney Meadow we did, is ask for a capital purchase from the legislature, right? Is the way that I would handle this. But then if we need additional capital to bring the building up, then that's like a whole nother.
And the building, and also they've been flooding issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on the river.
He was very clear, like it does flood, but the water goes down after a couple of days. He's like, the building's in no danger. I asked him if he had flood insurance. He said no, which maybe is just
Probably can't get it.
maybe, I don't know. So
And Marshfield since the 60s has actually had pretty strict zoning about
oh yeah,
building in the floodway. So they're, in addition to the challenges of the building that you've already identified, it might be really hard to get a permit to do
much more to it. Yeah, because you can't drill a well there, right? It's right in the floodplain. So I
would love to see a new owner for that property.
It's just probably not us. Yeah.
Sounds like you're getting more negative every minute.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I just don't think it's us. So we'll keep looking. The St. Mike's thing is moving forward very, very slowly. They are kind of running it by their facilities people. The water, there's like a pump station down where we were hoping to set this up, and it's like 3 different owners, right? So like that's been a bit of a complicating factor, but I think we probably will be able to get water access out of that pump station. It's Champlain Water District owns it, and we've been trying to collaborate with them on other projects. So we already have a good relationship with them. But it's just very slow, right? And if the LCBV does offer that nursery enhancement or support grant, again, I really wanted to have a location identified so that we can have
Be a lot more compelling.
exactly a more compelling narrative for them, and it'll be interesting to see whether we do or not. So, which is a bit disappointing, but it is what it is, right?
Well, I think it's so great that you're pursuing it because I think it's a wonderful idea.
Yeah, it's just finding the right fit,
Yeah,
and we don't want to get into a situation that we don't really want to be in. So, yeah, St. Mike's is great because it's like there's no we're committed, but it's easy to get out of it if it kind of goes south for either party, right? So yeah. So unfortunate about Flower Farm. Great spot, great guy, just probably not for us. Probably not for us. And then, we don't have to address it now again about the other questions about phones or office space or mailing. Well, the mailing address, I think we've more or less decided to keep the PO box, but the others just chew on it, right? we were fortunate this time that it was mostly an inconvenience to not have an office space. But had it lasted a whole lot longer, then we start getting into a position where we need our equipment, right? And then I don't know what we would have done.
Yeah.
If we needed our equipment and weren't able. I mean, we were able to get in, like we have keys and key cards and so on, right? We were just not supposed to go in.
I have a question actually, because I mean, the USDA, if I understand this correctly, wasn't that part of the budget, done for the whole year, the federal budget? So if things fall apart again in January,
it won't include the USDA.
it won't include
Correct.
USDA.
That's my understanding as well. That's
So
also my
NRCS
understanding.
will stay open,
That is my understanding.
right?
Yes.
Okay. So,
Yeah. So we're good for a year. It would appear.
okay, just
Um,
that, right.
No, yeah, that's how I understand it also,
Okay.
but I'm not an expert, but that is my understanding.
Yeah, because it sounded to me like it might well make sense to go with Parks District. I wonder if there, at least in the old days, there was this sort of benefit of being co-located, because of.
And there is.
And
Clientele.
that's why I'm kind of wondering, especially for you guys, like sometimes just being in the same office.
Yeah.
Yes, is actually really nice when they can get into the office.
I think your ability to interact in person with Jason Johan is a big deal.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
huge. Yeah.
That's
So that's a reason maybe to
agreed
wait.
to wait.
Or you could do both.
or we
right?
could
I
do
mean,
both.
You don't have
White
to
River
have your
does
director
both,
sitting
yeah.
here. You can still
Yeah.
have your tech staff sitting there.
Yeah.
Right. So we could have a desk and an office, but move our equipment to a place where we know we'll always be able to access it.
Yeah.
That might be an option.
Yeah.
Right. Other districts are kind of halfway housed a little bit like
Yeah.
that. And some have left completely.
Right.
And some are like us where they're fully with NRCS. So it's a mixture across
Yeah,
the board.
yeah.
But yeah, I would agree that your ability to interact face to face with particularly Jason Johan, but also Jennifer's in Middlebury, so I guess you don't see her.
Yeah. but
Occasionally.
even FSA having that
Sure.
relationship and the
Yeah.
Williston office
Yep.
is critical if we're doing these locally led functions.
Yep.
Like interface there's big. So.
Yeah.
So it is important.
Yeah.
I don't want to downplay that
Right,
it
okay.
is that connection for Lucas and myself less so, but for Heather and Kara, I think more so.
Yeah, and just given that you live in Montpelier, like you're not going to be excited about commuting up to Winooski. I mean, so who would use the office if you rented it?
Yeah, I mean, so currently I ask everyone to go into the office once a week.
Yeah.
Whatever their duty station is. So Lucas comes here once a week, I come here once a week.
Yeah.
These two go
Yeah.
to Williston once a week. And
Yeah.
so it would be the same deal. I would drive to the Parks District once a week.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be there every day.
Right.
But that would be not different than
Mhm.
it currently, except that I would drive a lot further.
Right.
So
right.
yeah, would I be thrilled
Yeah.
to drive to the Intervale, the marsh every
Yeah.
once a week? No, but I
Yeah.
also do occasionally do things in the Burlington
Yeah,
area and
yeah.
compare it with if I have a day where I'm going to be in
Right.
Charlotte or Shelburne or something
Right.
on a site visit, then that's the day that I would go
Mhm.
and be at the. So I do make my way up there from time to time anyway. But yeah, less than ideal.
Yeah.
But at least the mail would still come here.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I don't too.
Oh, if your mail isn't any better than mine, you might not have.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Well, they emailed me. Mary Beth did the first day they were back and said the last time because there was no mail here for NRCS when they showed up, and she said the last time the district got a PO box, it screwed up everyone's mail because they sent all of NRCS's mail to the district at their PO box. And I said we've got 3 letters at our PO box, so
Yeah.
we don't have any of your mail.
This mail you gave me, is this all the mail that you've received?
I think I received 4 or
There's
5.
nothing here? There's
I
nothing
haven't
in it?
checked here yet. I
Okay,
haven't
'cause
checked.
I'm looking for a check.
From
Your
Oh,
July.
Rethink Runoff.
Rethink
That's-
Runoff.
So I invoiced for that. That's yesterday.
But I think the last check I gave you was Rethink Runoff, wasn't it?
But there's one prior. to
There's one
that.
prior
But
to
I think
that,
it got
okay.
caught
Yeah.
Right in
right
between.
the-
Okay.
in between, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I will look. I have nothing. They usually put stuff when they go to the mail. They put our stuff on our desk. They've not put anything there. I'm wondering
Have
if
they been to the mail?
the post office just been holding their mail for them
That's what I'm
because
wondering
they.
too, after
yeah.
you mentioned that.
because they knew that they weren't going to be there to
But
get it. So.
they may be holding our mail too. I mean, if they're not. putting
Any
it
mail
in
that's
the
coming
box.
here, yeah. Like I said, there is mail that gets to us, but any forwarded mail, I think maybe is not getting to
Yeah,
us.
I think
So
there's there's like the MVP bills. I'm not seeing
Yeah.
those.
Yeah.
There's some things that I think are missing.
okay,
Okay.
hopefully that's resolved soon. um, cool.
Next, staff professional development.
Yeah, and this came up only because we have this is performance reviews for like everybody besides myself coming up over the next couple of months. So it's been something I've been thinking about. One of the things that is in the performance review but's not in our handbook is talk about professional development. It asks in your performance review like what your plans are for professional development in the coming year, and then the coming period. But we don't really specify anything in our handbooks. I'm just looking for some guidance about like what do we mean by professional development and expectation. What are our expectations as a district for professional development, right? Obviously the benefits are that we have more in-house skills that we don't have to like contract out to people and pay money for if we have staff do development, but obviously there's a cost that comes with it. And just kind of thinking if you're even just taking like a course is often like it's like $1,000 plus the staff time that goes into the course. You're looking at a couple $1,000s per staff member. And if you're doing it every year, we're looking at large amounts of money, $10,000 a year in professional development. If that's kind of the avenue we take. And so I guess my questions are like, what are our expectations, right? All of three of them and myself included, like do trainings, like mini trainings as like a regular part of our work activities. And I don't know that I would call that professional development. That just seems like part of their basic job duties, right? And so maybe we don't really have expectations beyond that, and that's fine, right? But if that's the case, I'll just remove it from the performance reviews, right? So that we don't.
I think that the definition includes workshops, conferences, training,
Sure.
and coursework.
Okay.
Actual college credits. I think those are the 4 areas that.
So if that's the
Comprise.
case, then we're all already doing professional development. And the goals, I guess, would just be projecting what I kind of
I think you have to
anticipate.
look at the individual goals too, and get the input from
Yep.
from your employees.
Yep.
What would they like to see? What would they like?
And
to
that's
do?
that's what I've been asking of
Okay.
people. And the question is,
Yeah.
are we willing to pay for things over and above what's already included in the grant funded work, right? So like ICWIP, you guys do training through that, and you do trainings through tactical basin planning. Over and above that, are we interested in investing to do that? We have done this once since I've been here, that the conservation design series that looks like a 2-part training series through Forest A&R, FPR. One of them offered it that I did, and I think you did the first half of it. So we have done this once before, right? But whether we want this to be like an ordinary part of our activities or not, right? Or whether we consider the normal trainings that we would do, like that's professional development and we're good there, right?
Or maybe both, because to me, those trainings I would qualify as
Sure.
professional development. It would be nice to at least sometimes be able to take advantage of other professional development opportunities, but so maybe it would have some amount of money
Yeah.
in the budget,
Right.
not with an expectation that every single year, every single person is gonna do that, but
Right.
just, for you, Dan, to kind of
Sure.
manage, if it's $2,000 a year, whatever it is,
Yeah.
like what opportunities are coming up, what needs, what are people interested in, or, so there could be some both.
Yeah, there's training coming up for conservation planners. That's out of state training, for example.
Yeah, I saw that.
That
Yeah.
would be over and above your normal.
So maybe that's, and we've already done the budget for this year, but maybe or maybe we can modify the budget for this year. But I think that's a good
Yeah.
halfway
Right.
point, right? Is that we allot $5,000 a year for professional, or just for example.
Yeah, I don't know what the right amount is.
Yeah, for professional development, and then it gets kind of parceled out as
Yeah.
as we see fit,
Right.
right?
It'd be
As
great.
opportunities come up.
Yeah,
Right,
right.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that too. I was gonna make the same pitch that I think we should have something in the budget to help support additional professional development above and beyond what we do right now. So, and especially somebody that wants to go after something that's going to really help, not only professional development, help the district, help help in other ways.
Yep.
I just think I think it's a great way to go, and a good benefit to offer.
So, I mean, do we meet, we've adopted a budget, we're partway
Right.
Through the year.
almost half through. So I don't know, maybe it's a.
We could wait till next year, right?
maybe
And
Pat can talk about it.
yeah.
I mean, we don't necessarily have to adjust the budget. If
Yeah.
there's things that come up.
Yeah.
I mean, we can explain the variance.
Right.
Look, this opportunity came up and we're gonna pay for it.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way, I think.
Yeah. So maybe for this year.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
if an opportunity comes up, you think is,
right.
and then for next year.
Yeah,
then
maybe,
we
and come up with a
line
plan,
item.
Yeah.
and individual plans. of
Yeah.
What people want to do.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, I think that's a great way to move forward on this.
So you had a number of questions here. Is that,
Those are just kind of
Okay.
discussion, spitballing questions. We can address all of them individually if people want, but I feel like we've done the spirit of what I wanted to do.
okay.
Yeah.
So I see then the next item was executive session.
Correct.
And maybe a quick break.
Yeah, maybe a break first.
Some of us need a quick break.
Okay. I'm gonna head out.
All right. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Jill.
Thank you, Pat.
No problem.
Who else is still here? Jeff's still here.
Good to see you.
All right, we'll be back, Jeff.
Try to get